My name is Christine Bartram and I'm currently looking after the herbarium here at Cambridge, and I've got just a selection of them here to show you. We've got Nothophagus antarctica, obliqua and menziesii, and these were all collected, these specimens, from the Botanic Garden. The first one I'm going to talk about is this one, Nothophagus antarctica. This one is probably the oldest one and has fossil pollen and other fossils of this plant have been found in Antarctica. This particular tree is the southernmost tree on the planet. This one is endemic to New Zealand, so it only grows in New Zealand, and this one grows in Argentina and Chile. The trees all evolved together at a time when there was this great southern continent called Gondwanaland, and when that broke apart, perhaps about 65 million years ago, the trees were then taken all over the southern hemisphere, hence you get them growing in New Zealand and Chile, all around the Pacific Rim. A herbarium is a collection of plant specimens that have been dried and pressed, and here at this herbarium we've got about 1.1 million specimens. And the herbarium has been going since 18th centuries, when John Martin was the first professor of botany here. John Martin's herbarium was left and it was in a really poor condition, and when John Stevens Henslow arrived, he actually took all the specimens and remounted them, and that became the kernel of the modern university herbarium that we know today. And of course it was Henslow who originally set out the Botanic Garden here in Cambridge. Okay, so when we collect these plants, they go into something called a Polish press. This is a plant press. And many people will have seen the old wooden presses that we all sometimes have when we're little children, and we screw the plants down. Well, they do still exist, but these are better because the plants can dry quicker. And so you have a piece of blotting paper or drying paper, and then a flimsy piece of paper into which you put your collected plant. And then you get about 10 plants and collect them all together and then tie around like this, and then they go to be dried either in a drying cabinet or in the sunshine. But before we mount them, we have to put them in the freezer, and the reason we put them in the freezer is to kill off any insects that might be on them, because it's very important in the herbarium that we don't introduce any insects which might munch their way through our collection. So this is a specimen of Nothophagus antarctica collected from the Botanic Garden, and what we do is we take it out and then we use this linen tape which we cut up, and it's sticky on one side and just plain linen on the other, and we cut it into strips. So we just go down the plant. I've got this helpful little tool here, making sure that we're not covering up anything that's important in the identification. And the important thing about having these specimens in the collection is that we know something about the plant, where it's from, the name of the plant, when it was collected. So we put on a label, and for this we use a pH neutral adhesive, and then we just leave it to dry before we put anything else on top of it, and then a bit later that will get filed away into the main collection.